Overlord is hitting theaters this weekend. Should you see it or should you not see it? We'll tell you right here on ScreenJunkies News. Hello, I'm Dan Murrell.
I'm Roth Cornet. That was a bad robot.
That was bad robot.
But it was also great. This is the latest from Jj Abrams. What people were speculating was another in the Cloverfield.
Yes, this is one of those weird ones. I remember it's like following something. I remember being on this set talking about Jj Abrams doing a D-Day Nazi movie,
Yes.
zombie movie. And then here we are. It's hitting theaters. He's producing, we should say. He's producing.
Yes.
Julius Avery directed this film. That's where a big part of it for me was. I love the style of this movie, first and foremost.
I did too, and I will say that there were some rumors that this was going to be included as another Cloverfield, but that well, in all honesty, they saw it and liked it too much to do that, which I think is pretty interesting at this point. This is, interestingly enough, not the first zombie Nazi movie. There's a number of zombie Nazi movies. There's even an underwater zombie Nazi movie.
Yes.
Yes.
Dead Snow is one that I remember seeing that not made here in the U.S., but there have been a number of Nazi zombie movies. Call of Duty famously had a whole Nazi zombie mode. So I think it would have been easy for this film to sort of fall into a been there, done that trap. I like this movie.
I did too, and I think that what's interesting about it is that it's a rare case that the marketing exactly matches the experience.
Pretty much.
I think when you look at the trailer for this movie, if you are interested in the trailer and you have a sense of what you're going to see, you're right. That's exactly what you're going to see. And not in a bad way either. By the way, it's not that they tell you the entire story in the trailer.
Right.
It's that the tone and the feel of the film match the experience of the tone and the feel of the trailer, which is actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, if anything, the trailer kind of makes the film to be a little more mysterious than it actually is. When it's actually a pretty straightforward movie. A pretty straightforward movie takes place on the day of the Normandy invasion. There's a group of soldiers that are paratroopers that go into a French village where that is being run by a group of Nazis, and there's a lab, and it turns out they're up to no good, Roth.
And that's why we've seen so many zombie Nazi films. I really mean this is because they're famously, towards the end especially, the Nazis were experimenting with literally everything, and in a very horrific way in the real world, and that has then been turned to fantasy in a number of ways. And I think it's also wish fulfillment. Nazis are and remain sort of the human villain that we can unabashedly hate, that we can kind of root for the good guys to defeat, and so they stand in as that, and then there are also these monsters. And so I think they did a really good job of depicting in the first portion of the film the pure, unrelenting, or Julius because he's my friend, did a good job of sort of creating the tension and unrelenting terror of war.
Yes.
And then marrying that to the horror of what was being created by these experiments. I thought that was very well done.
That's what I liked, was it is grounded in the ask that you're being that's being asked of you by the movie. What the movie's asking you to believe is not a complete divorcing from reality, in the sense of for a while I thought that they were going to go super over the top and it would become, as I named it in my head, Inglorious Bastards.
Yeah, I did
in the
too.
sense of like it's going to be a totally skewed timeline, and it's going to be like this very cartoonish version of history. And really that's not what it does. It actually strangely makes it so that you could believe that during the Normandy invasion,
this was
simultaneously a few miles away, there was a village with some crazy lab where they were doing some stuff that was going on, and like this battle happened. It doesn't ask you to completely divorce yourself, and I think that works because the movie itself really doesn't get that cartoonish. Now, it does and it doesn't. What this reminded me of was about 10 years ago when Eli Roth and Quentin Tarantino did, they kind of spearheaded this Grindhouse revival. They made the movie Grindhouse. And Eli Roth did one called Planet Terror that was like super over the top, but in a very wink kind of way, like they knew what he was doing. This reminded me of one of those films, but not in that sort of self-aware winking at the genre way. This is just a tough and dirty very gory, just like you're going to buy. They know that you're going to buy this or you're not going to buy this. They don't make any apologies for it. And they just go right into it. And I bought into it. And I think that's why I like the movie was it is just balls to the wall, pardon the expression, from the word go.
Yeah, it is.
And you don't get off the ride till the end.
And you're placed directly in the protagonist's point of view, and he is, first of all, it's a really good performance. Second of all, he's incredibly vulnerable. This is a person caught in a war who is not by nature violent, that abhors violence, that has incredible sense of integrity, and you're right with him the whole time and traveling through these different horrific experiences with and through him, through his eyes. I think that really helps because you really have a hero in this, but you also have somebody that you're worried about the entire time because he's scared, and so he gives you permission, and he brings you right into this isn't a soldier who's like chip on his shoulder, machismo. He's terrified, but he's doing it anyway.
Yeah.
And then he continues to do that again and again and again throughout the film, including when he comes upon these monsters. And as somebody that has seen a lot of monster films, these are very well done.
They're good monsters.
They're good monsters.
They're really good monsters.
They're very, very frightening. And then they take the human monster and they marry the human and with the supernatural.
Yes, exactly.
In I think a way that's very effective.
Another thing that pointed out, and this was, I think, a very savvy career move, Wyatt Russell, Kurt Russell's son.
Who, by the way, is so like his father.
He smartly, I think, at the beginning of his career, because I've seen him in several things, and I've liked him in everything that I've seen him, but he chose projects like Ingrid Goes West,
which he was great in.
And the episode of Black Mirror that he did. Like, he's chosen a lot of. He has a show on AMC. Like, he chose a lot of projects that showed that he is an actor first and Kurt Russell's son second.
But he is Kurt Russell's son.
This movie shows that if he wanted Kurt Russell's career, and I mean like not now, like Kurt Russell's 1980s career. He could have it in a heartbeat.
He was like if Jack Burton and Snake Plissken were in the middle of Normandy. You know how I feel.
I know how you feel about Kurt Russell.
I love Kurt Russell, so it only made me love him more. And I thought it was very brilliant on the part of both Wyatt Russell and the director, frankly, to utilize him that way, because you're immediately, if you might even subconsciously be clued into the place he's holding in this film, to the space of frankly masculinity that he's holding in this film, and it works as a really good counterpart to some of the vulnerability that's coming elsewhere, and then he makes a decision that bears fruit in that regard. It's also a really small mission that's a very important mission, which I think really works to give this film a lot of focus. Because there are stakes. There are worldwide stakes that we understand. They're very clear. If they don't get this thing done, then Normandy is going to fail, right? And Normandy must not fail. And in their way, obstacles are these things, plus the Nazis. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It gives it real stakes.
It does. I think if you are a horror fan, number one, and especially like a creature fan, you're really going to like this movie. I think if you're a war movie fan, you're really going to like this movie. If you're an action fan, I think you're going to like this movie. If you're squeamish,
you are not going to like this movie.
I would say maybe
it's gory.
It's very gory. It is a hard R as far as that goes. A lot of body horror. So just be warned. I loved the makeup effects in this movie. A lot of them are or appear to be practical makeup effects. And I think if you're able to blend things that well through any means, then you've done it successfully. So good job.
As a person with a personal connection with the world of makeup effects, they're very good.
Yeah. Stylistically, there are a couple of one-shot sequences that don't draw attention to themselves in the sense of they seem to be done for style's sake, but are executed flawlessly. I love the style of this movie. I love the performances of this movie.
I like the pace.
The pace of it is good.
Because there's a lot that'll happen in the background, too, that they don't overplay. And it adds to the experience when they arrive where they arrive.
Yeah.
It is a harrowing almost metaphorically like a rebirth experience for this protagonist, and like, but also just terrifying. So well executed.
Yeah.
In terms of the direction.
I think that it's not a perfect movie, but I think it was a really, really entertaining movie. And if you want to just go have a good time with a lot of blood and guts, this is the movie for you.
I agree. And I think if anything, I actually like the pacing, but I think that might trip some people up because
the third act is a little
slow. It can get a little slow here and there. That said, I really mean this. If you watch the trailers for the movie and you're interested, you're probably going to enjoy it. How often do you get to see that?
Yeah.
You know, that's almost more impressive than anything. I recommend it. Again, with the caveat that this is not going to be on our Oscar winners of the year list, and it's not going to be for everyone. If you have a squeamish tummy, no.
Not for you.
Not for you.
So there you go. 2 go see it's for Overlord.
Well, that's exciting.
I'm glad. I feel like we've hit a couple of either we're off on it or we're both just a little on some movies. Yeah. So I'm glad that we hit one that we're both saying check it out.
Check it out.
Check it out.
Let
Overlord.
us know what you think.
Let us know. And let us know what you think of our review of all of our other reviews. And we're going to be letting you know what we think of a bunch of other movies coming up, as always, here on Screen Junkies News.